Hello, everyone, and welcome to our next installment of our Idris Goodwin play series. Today's play is called Act Free, and in a moment, you'll be able to watch a live stream of this play, and followed right after, you will see a talkback where you're all invited to engage in conversation with myself, the director, and one of our actors. So, without further ado, Act Free.
We hold these truths to be self-evident that all men are created equal, that they are endowed by their Creator with certain unalienable rights, that among them are life, liberty, and the pursuit of happiness.
When Jesus is my portion, a constant friend is He.
That on the first day of January, in the year of our Lord, 1863, all persons held as slaves within any state, the people whereof shall then be in rebellion against the United States, shall be then, thenceforward, and forever free.
His eye is on the sparrow.
Guess what?
What?
You won't believe it.
Believe what? Believe what?
I was getting a drink of water, and I overheard the higher-ups talking.
They didn't catch you listening to them, did they?
No.
They don't like eavesdroppers.
I know that's right.
Listen.
Seriously? Just one time?
Listen. So it turns out we're free.
What?
Free?
Seriously, free.
That's not even funny.
It's no joke. I heard him saying it. And it turns out that we've been free a while, but no one told us.
How long of a while?
Days, months?
Years.
How is that?
Years? What?
Supposed to be someone who was coming to tell us, but then he got lost or maybe died in quicksand or something.
They just had one person to tell us?
Well, now there's a bunch of troops coming.
How many troops?
How should I know? All I know is that we're free, which means we don't have to do this anymore.
So we are free.
Yes.
So I can just walk off right now.
Right now.
And nobody will come after me.
Why would they? You're as free as they are.
Have you talked to the higher-ups about this?
They were talking, trying to figure out how to tell everyone.
How to tell them? What's so hard about just telling us?
Well, I think that they're worried that the people, the lower than them, the higher than us folks, will be scared because this has been the arrangement for so long, and people don't like change.
Amen to that.
Change and mosquitoes.
So when they finally do tell us, look surprised because I probably wasn't supposed to say anything.
What if we've been free a while? What's the matter?
What do you mean?
That's a good point. If God's been free this whole time, then we could just go right now.
Well, they probably wouldn't appreciate that. As far as they know, we still think we aren't free. So if you started walking around like you were, they'd think, hey, what's the big idea?
When you said it, we are free.
You did say that.
Yeah, as soon as the higher-ups tell us.
That don't make no sense.
Well, none of this makes sense.
What if we've been free even longer than you heard them say we've been free? What if we are the only gathered fools thinking they aren't free the whole time everybody else has been sipping lemonade and going about their day as jolly as a rabbit in May?
I'm pretty sure that hasn't been the case.
What imagine?
So once they tell us, what are we supposed to do?
Anything we want. Me? I'm going to get some land and work it.
Work some land? That's what you do now.
How are you going to get some land?
Well, there's got to be some land somewhere nobody's using. What about you?
Not sure. Just be free, I guess. Walk around with my free self. Making free thoughts.
Hey, do you think everyone will change how they treat us now that we're free? What? We're free now.
Well, not yet, according to you.
In a few moments, they'll be coming over to read I think it's called the Charter or something.
Sometimes paper ain't nothing but a dead tree.
Who'd you hear that from?
A tree.
Y'all don't seem excited. I don't understand.
Because for us, what does free even mean? Free to do what? What good is it to be free if you don't have anything? The higher-ups, they became higher-ups because their daddies were higher-ups. My mother wasn't free, and her father wasn't free. His mother wasn't free. They didn't pass on anything to me but bad memories. Get land, grow crops, and some too. You think the people who used to be in charge of this business was selling 5 minutes ago, they thought was no different than the cow?
You do sound like a cow when you snore.
That's not funny.
They gave you more than bad memories. You're smart and you're strong, and that's all you need to build anything. Some wits and muscle.
That's a good point.
Be quiet. Just a minute ago you were agreeing with me.
Okay, here they come.
How should we act?
Just act natural.
What is natural for free people thought they would? Here they come.
This is it.
Right, y'all.
After this, it'll all be over.
Something tells me it will not be over soon.
Maybe not soon, but it will be over.
Whisper, listen, whisper, say we're free. Rumors flying, must be lying, can it really be? Can't conceive it, can't believe it, but that's what they say. Slave no longer, this is Freedom Day. Freedom Day, Freedom Day. Throw those shackling chains away. Everybody that I see says it's really true, we're free.
At this time, we will start our live talking. So first, I want to start with introductions. My name is Sharon Fraser McLean, and I'm the Community Engagement and EDI Coordinator at Barrington Stage Company. And I also serve as producer of this work. Mel.
Thank you, Sharon. Hi, my name is Mel Powers. I directed this work. This is my third Idris Goodwin play that I've had the pleasure to direct for Barrington Stage in this Zoom format. And I'm just so happy to be working with Barrington Stage on this.
And Makai.
Yeah.
You can introduce yourself. You can tell us your name, how old you are, and what grade you're in.
My name is Makai. I'm 7 going into 8th. And I'm 12 turning 13 this year.
Awesome, thank you. So first, I want to thank you both for being here with us today and give you an applause for such great work. And Mel, I would like to start with my regular question I always love to ask because I really appreciate your process and how do you put these things together. And my first question for you is, what was your first reaction when you read this play?
Oh my goodness. So thank you so much, Sharon. So what's been really wonderful is that when you first asked me to direct the first Idris Goodwin play, we did #Matters back in January. And I wasn't familiar with his work at all. And so I've gotten to really get to know it doing these plays. And I think there are 2 more that we have to do. And so I'm getting the pleasure of kind of seeing an arc to the work. So this play is told from the point of view of young children who are just finding out that they're about to be free. And it's really, for me, when I read it, it started to touch me on so many levels. I have young children myself. I'm trying to imagine them in this circumstance. And then last year, I'd also gone down to the Whitney Plantation, which is told from the point of view of enslaved children. We saw some of the media from that in this. And so for me, it really kind of came alive in a couple of different ways where I could kind of imagine those children having this conversation. And so I was able to tie those things together, and it felt very powerful and evocative to me. So that's where I started. And then I had the 3 young actors who were so wonderful. And so we did a lot of talk about that. We had also, Barrington Stage had just done Nothing Rhymes with Juneteenth. And so really getting these actors to see that piece. And I had used a piece of audio from the Library of Congress recordings of a woman who had been enslaved as a child talking about that Freedom Day. And so the kids and I listened to that together, and we really talked about what that would feel like to be living in those times and to have that experience happen to them.
I totally agree. Thank you.
Thank you.
And I always love the process. Being able to watch it start to finish, watching the young people come into the room. And it's like being in a class. And they're really educated on the time period and on the characters. And really from the character that they're playing. So I appreciate the work you do and how you process the script going from words on the paper to something visual. So Makai, I have a question for you. And my first question is, what did you learn from doing this play?
Well, what I learned from this play was kind of like a piece that you usually get from like school, but like more detailed. And also it kind of like helps like give like more like an idea of like how like felt like to hear like the news of being free, because like none of us today can like imagine what it was like. It must, because like it just feels like it was like been like a really tough time for people to go through if they were people of color being enslaved.
Thank you for sharing that. Makai, I have another question for you. So I love the character that you played. And there was a statement that you made at the end of the play that I, as an adult, felt it was so profound. And, tying it into the times that we're living in today, you made a statement. Your last line of the play said, "Something tells me that it will not be over soon." How did that make you feel when you were saying that part, when you were connecting to that character? How did that make Makai feel?
Kind of like that my character like had like an idea that like even like if like slavery is over now, like they won't be like fully like accepted and like still like be treated differently than how like the first like character thought they were.
Okay, so you mean because yes, the first character, she was so excited and she was so hopeful. So she was like the cheerleader of the bunch. When you look at the 3 of you having a conversation, so she was the cheerleader, and then you have Luke, who was he had a lot of good jokes. Laughing. But also he was just like the one going back and forth between the 2 of you. So one minute he agreed with you, and then the next minute he agreed with her. So I definitely appreciate what your character brought to the plate. To be able to have that person in the group that's able to kind of sort of play the devil's advocate. Okay, great. I understand that you're happy. But you were also able to, by your experience, being a slave you're able to say, I'm not sure if this is something that's going to be great for us. So I just want to give you a round of applause for the job that you did embodying that character. Being someone who never experienced slavery and able to really portray that to us, the watchers. So I wanted to thank you for the work that you did.
Sharon, I wanted to ask Makai a question. Makai, was there anything that when we came into the rehearsal process, when we started talking about the play, was there anything that you hadn't known or hadn't thought about in terms of, that time period?
Well, generally, like I never thought about like how the reaction would be to like the news. And I think that's like basically it. There's some other stuff I might be thinking about.
Yeah. Well, we did a lot of time talking about trying to be in that experience. It's such a big one that, as you said before, that we can't quite really imagine. We can imagine being surprised and being happy by so many things, but we really tried to enter that mindset of what would it be like to get news that you never expected to get in your lifetime. I feel a little bit like that is how I felt when Barack Obama got won the presidency. I was like, I never thought I'd see this, right? But this is on an even bigger level. Thanks for that, Makai.
So Mel, I have a question for you. Both of us being parents, Black parents. I had an aha moment when we were in the room in rehearsals, in the initial conversation with the kids. You asked them, what do you think is going on here? And Makai's response was, I think these kids are at work. And as a parent, I was like, wow, wait a minute. Like, my child doesn't even really know the story of slavery and the fact that these kids were slaves. So it really made me think, a lot of the time we place the responsibility of education on the schools. But the education really needs to start at home. So I just wanted to ask you to kind of elaborate on, this education process. How important it is for us to start educating, but also giving the schools the opportunity to build on, what's already being taught, and just making sure the full story is being told.
Ooh, that's a good one, Sharon. As a parent, it's twofold. As a Black parent to Black children, because on the one hand, your children need to know your children need to know history. I mean, this isn't anything political or partisan. It's just history. It's what happened. And so everyone should know it, not just Black children. It should be being taught. But because it feels like it can get political or partisan, it's not necessarily being taught in a very full way. So as a Black parent, I do teach my children, this history. And, you want to make sure you're teaching them it in a way that they still feel empowered in the world, right? Like, this is a thing that happened. And because of this thing that happened, there are things that are still happening today. And you are an empowered person, right? This does not define who you are, but it certainly shapes how you exist in this country. And so it would be great if we could have that as part of our entire educational system from the beginning. But as parents, yes, we have to be really intentional about teaching our kids this history so that they know it. I know when Makai said, it wasn't just Makai, the other two kids too were like, well, I think they're workers, right? And we kind of had a moment where we're like, yes, they were working. But, here is the context behind all of it, which can feel really, I think, huge to kids. I remember when I was a little kid, I think Roots had aired recently, and I remember seeing parts of it. And I'm talking about the original Roots, not the one that happened a couple of years ago. And it was such a big cultural moment where I think people who had never really thought about slavery kind of were immersed in it. But it feels like the immediacy of that has sort of gone away over the years, but it's coming back into conversation now.
Absolutely. I love the word conversation. And at this time, I want to invite anyone who's watching to ask questions of Mel, myself, from Makai. But also, Mel, as we engage in this conversation, you said something that kind of stuck out with me, and you started to talk about today. Are there any real differences between what the kids were experiencing then versus some of the issues that we still see going on today. And it made me think about the show that we just aired. Nothing Rhymes with Juice. We talked about putting these two pieces together to tell a full story. And it just made me really think about, it's been so long time-wise, that when we think about the strides that have been made during this time, we still have a lot of work to do. And I would say from an educator standpoint, how could we go about making sure the whole story is being told, the full history? What are some steps that we can take to make sure the kids are being properly educated?
Yeah. Well, I love these pieces as a jumping off point to talk to kids about. And then looking at the sort of Idris Goodwin series of plays that he has, we were talking about this the other day, that kind of this one is the beginning of the arc, this Act Free, where we see these children getting the news that they are freed. And then Nothing Rhymes with Juneteenth coming right after, where we see a present day kid really thinking about how to honor this memory of the people who were freed and the fact that they didn't find out, for a while. And there's even history around, Juneteenth that people have all kinds of feelings about as a celebration, right? Because basically we're celebrating, someone decided not to free you when you should have been freed. Like, what are we celebrating? We want to celebrate, but what is it that we are celebrating, right? And then we have another one called the Water Gun Song that's coming up. That's going to be about a mom talking or a dad talking with their Black child about playing with water guns, right? Which is a conversation that many Black parents have to have with their kids about the safety of that. And then we have, We have Black Flag, which is two college roommates, where it's a Black, I think it's a young Black woman and a young white woman, and the young white woman brings a Confederate flag to hang on the wall, and the conversation about free speech and what does it mean to have these things in your environment. And then the last one, #matters, which is sort of like the post-collegiate, where, this young woman's meeting with someone that she had, and we already did that one, a young woman's meeting with a young Black woman with a young white man from her town she grew up with, and having this conversation about, Black Lives Matter. And so I think the sort of arc of these pieces are really great. And I think that almost with any age, a parent or a teacher could show one of them and begin a conversation. And that's what we need, conversation starters.
Absolutely. At this time, Mikal, would you like to share something that you've taken away from this play?
Something that I would like. Sorry, can you repeat the question?
Something that you took away, a lesson that you've learned, or some awareness. Even if you felt empowered, being a young Black child living today.
I feel now when I took away from this was like the fact that even though some people who are free today compare themselves to it in the way that they had it first. Well, it's something that people can't truly speak on about compare themselves to them. Like their lifestyle is worse than theirs. What's that actually because there's some people that I know that do that. They be like, oh, this is reality. We truly can't speak on it. There's no about that.
Well, thank you. So we kind of had hearing you. But what I think I heard you say was it's a good opportunity for people to think about what those kids experienced and the type of lifestyle that they live, and think about the freedom that you actually do have, right? Is that what you were trying to say?
Yeah.
I'm sorry, we're having some technical trouble, so I can't really hear you. But I just wanted to make sure that you were heard. Mel, is there something you would like to add?
Yeah, just the thing that I always vote I always vote. And one of the reasons why I always vote is because I know so many people went through so much trouble, good trouble and bad trouble, so that I could vote, right? And so I do feel like it's my duty and obligation, because as a woman and as a Black woman, there are lots of people who would like to silence my voice. So I make sure to make it heard. In the same way that I think it's important for, for young people to know all the history, so that they can push back when someone says something to them that's not facts, right? Like, you have to know your facts. And so that's what I tell my kids about education too. I said, too many people died so you could have a good education. So you really need to take advantage of it. And it was a pleasure working with these three on this piece. They were just so wonderful. And as you talked about, Sharon, in the end, they each took like a different point of view. Izzy was very much the cheerleader of like, hey guys, this is going to be great. We're free, right? And Makai was a little more skeptical. He was the devil's advocate. And Spencer was like that pesky little brother that was going back and forth between them, which I think is just so real and so right in terms of how we process any kind of change, especially one as big as that one. So they did beautiful work. Thank you.
Awesome.
So I think that this is a
great time to wrap up this conversation. Before we go, I just want the audience to know that we will be having another show coming up in a few months to add to this series. So look out for that. Again, we would love to thank Mel Powers, our director, for her phenomenal work for seeing these words, vision. Makai, Benson, Izzy, we want to thank you guys for your hard work coming into the room with the willingness to not only act, but to learn the story, so you really embody your character. So we want to thank you for the hard work and the dedication that you put in. And at this time, we would just like to call everyone bye.
And thank you, Sharon. You're amazing.
Thank you. Have a nice day, everyone. Thank you for joining us.